appreciate that.
Yeah, there you go. And join me with the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'd like to call to order the regular board meeting of the Oceana County Board of Commissioners for November 9th of 2023, and I ask the clerk to do a roll call, please.
Mr. Erickson?
Here.
Mr. Morris?
Here.
Mr. Beggs?
Here.
Mr. Hardy?
Here.
Mr. Walker?
Here, thank you. I ask for a motion to approve the minutes from the October 26th meeting.
I'll make that motion, Hardy.
Thank you, Mr. Hardy. Do we have a support?
I'll support that, Morris.
Thank you, Mr. Morris. Are there any questions or corrections on the minutes as presented?
I do have some correction. It's a minor thing on page, where is it? It's page 4 of those minutes. It says in the first full paragraph there below Commissioner's reports, he, as in me, also announced that tonight Craig Mast and Kim Cole will be on his podcast to talk about, and this is their trip to the U.S.-Mexico border. It wasn't about that, it was about the consequences of living without a purpose and direction. So.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Morris.
Mm-hmm.
We'll let the clerk get her notes on that.
You got that, Amy?
Can you say that again?
The consequences of living without purpose and direction.
Are there any other corrections or questions? With those, Mr. Morris's correction in there, all in favor of approval, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Conflict of interest disclosure regarding agenda items. Do any board members want to declare a conflict of interest? Hearing none, are there any changes to the agenda?
I would like to say we remove the item 2823-121, or just take no action on it, I guess, would be the best way to go.
You, Mr. Morris, you would like to remove that from the agenda?
I guess we can take no action. So it could stay, we just take no action, or however the best way to go about that is.
Well, that may be the best way, just take no action on it at this time and let the administrator get back to them. If they have specific items that they want.
Yeah, I like that. Sounds good.
Mr. Erickson, would you like to be on and like to discuss it?
Yes, I think we should at least discuss it.
Okay.
It'll be on record then.
Mr. Morris,
Yeah, that's fine.
let's have a discussion on it.
Okay.
So, any other changes to the agenda? Hearing none, motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make that motion, Hardy.
Thank you, Mr. Hardy. Support?
Support.
Mr. Erickson, support, all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Thank you. Are there any public comments for the board at this time? Hearing none. Mr. Erickson, appointment to the Oceana County Department of Health and Human Services Board.
Mr. Walker, I will make this appointment, get the ball on the field. Motion 2023-119 to appoint Mr. Dale Daines to the Oceana County Department of Health and Human Services Board for a 3-year term effective October 31 through 23 through September 30, 2026.
I'll second that.
We have a motion by Mr. Erickson, support by Mr. Morris. Any discussion? Yes, Mr.
I think this is a good appointment, not to disregard the service or the ideas of Dr. Jensen, but it's a changing scene in the medical care facility. It's been a troublesome go for the last couple of years, and I think it's time for new
Very well said, Mr. Beggs. Does anybody else have any comments? Mr. Morris, please.
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment. My only caution, and I'll say this when Mr. Dane's in the room, is when somebody has worked in a certain facility for so many years, they tend to get involved in the day-to-day of that facility, which does worry me a little bit, because a board member, it's really important that they let the operations people do their job and not, meddle in the operation. So I urge you, with this appointment, presumed appointment to you, and just keep that on the top of your mind.
Mr. Erickson?
Yes, and I've got to agree with Mr. Morse, in what he had said, and then earlier when, Tim talked about the budget, I had that mixed up, but yeah, it's a very, very large budget we have in our medical care, and we're one of the few privately owned or county-owned facilities, in the state, and we've always had the highest standards in our medical care, and COVID was unfair to all of us. There's just I cannot tell you the heartbreak that we've experienced at COVID, and attracting and maintaining help has been our biggest challenge. Our RNs, we've had to bring them in from other areas just to fill the slots. Housekeeping, and then when we get the lockdowns, we've had lockdowns for COVID on the floor, COVID with employees. It's fortunate we only had one reported COVID case in the past month. So that's really helped our facility tremendously, and it's allowed friends and family to come in and see the residents. Mr. Dane's born and bred in Shelby, excellent work ethic. Micromanagement is one of the things I'm sure he'll be able to set aside as being a board member. And Dr. Jensen's been wonderful. I can't tell you, I've enjoyed working with those people in this board through this very challenging time. It's been heartbreaking. I can't tell you the pain that the last few years have been for us as a community that owns that facility, and we've had residents that have not been afforded a bed in our own medical care after having paid millages and millages and millages. So same with our ambulance service. We've had a lot of dedicated people in our community who have paid taxes to have these benefits and then be denied a bed at a medical care when the end of their life is upon them. Yeah, Tim, you're right. We really got to look harder at staying alive and not selling, because there are private institutions out there looking every day at purchasing more real estate and owning this elder care. But Oceana County has the finest medical care facility in the state, and I would like it to remain that way.
Okay. Mr. Hardy?
No comment.
Mike, I'd just like to say we have experience on the board and we have experience in the plant. One of the best boards that I have ever sat on, I sit on with Mr. Erickson at this time now, and that's the District 10 Health Department Board, which has 2 representatives from each one of the 10 counties that are served by District 10 Health Department Board. One of the things that is always talked about and always brought up, and the first and foremost thing that's brought up to new board members, is the responsibility of the District 10 Health Board is to interview and appoint the District 10 Health Officer, period. After that, we set policy, and policy is administered by the District 10 Health Officer. Pretty much what we hear all the time, Paul.
Cut and dried.
And it runs real well by doing that. I had the pleasure of sitting on this board for several years with a gentleman that I very much respect, and it's Dean Gustafson. And Mr. Gustafson used to always tell all the other 6 board members, don't micromanage the departments. We're not here to do that. my only concern. Don't micromanage the department. Any other comments from the board members? I asked for a roll call vote on Mr. Erickson's motion to appoint Mr. Dale Danes to the board.
Mr. Erickson,
Yes.
Mr. Morse,
Yes.
Mr. Hardy,
Yes.
Mr. Beggs,
Yes.
Mr. Walker.
No. Mr. Beggs, public hearing for budget, property tax, millage, rate request revision to set a public hearing.
I make a motion, to revise 2023-105, changing the date of the public hearing on the proposed fiscal year 2024 budget and property tax millage rates to be levied to support the revenue projections and expenditure, commitments for fiscal year 2024 from Thursday, November 9th, 2023 at 11:30 a.m. to Thursday, December 7th, 2023 at 11:30 a.m. in the Board Commissioners Room, Hart, Michigan.
Thank you, Mr. Beggs. Do we have a second?
I'll support.
Thank you, Mr. Hardy. Any discussion on the motion as presented for our budget hearing? Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Beggs?
Yes.
Mr. Hardy?
Yes.
Mr. Morse?
Yes.
Mr. Erickson?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes. Mr. Morris, health insurance hard caps.
Chairman Walker, I make a motion to adopt under PA 152 hard cap limitations in section 3 of the Act, MCL 15.563 for the 2024 medical benefit plan coverage year for all eligible employees, as identified in section 2H of the Act, MCL 15.562H.
Thank you, Mr. Morris. Do we have a support?
I'll support.
Thank you, Mr. Beggs. Moved by Mr. Morris, supported by Mr. Beggs for the health insurance hard cap for the employees. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Morse?
Yes.
Mr. Beggs?
Yes.
Mr. Hardy?
Yes.
Mr. Erickson?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes. Mr. Erickson, Department of Health and Human Services appropriation.
Mr. Walker, I make a motion 2023-121 to reinstate the appropriation of the Oceana County, Michigan Department of Health and Human Services for social welfare for calendar year 2024 in the amount of $8,000.
Do we have a support? Do we have a support?
I'll support.
Moved by Mr. Erickson, support by Mr. Hardy. Discussion. Mr. Erickson?
Yeah, the preface on this was that it had been in place in the past, and it was requested at the last medical care board meeting we had, and dues were the question that had come up. Typically, those dues and conference fees are paid through the medical care budget, and it was requested by the chair that we reinstate this budgetary item, that chair being a former county board chair, Larry Van Sickles. So I had asked Janet Van Slice to make that request so that we could bring it to the board, so that we could have the discussion. And after hearing Mr. Walker preface this with, on a needs basis, I understand that that might be a good avenue to follow, that the county could help out in places where it were necessary, and those needs could come to us, on an as-needed basis. So I wanted to make the motion. I appreciate the support, so we could get get it on the floor.
Mr. Erickson, why don't we not take any action on this at this meeting today and ask the Health and Human Services board to come back with any specific item that they may want our financial support to fund? Instead of, and just not take any action and tell them if there's a specific item you want, let us know what the specific items are.
we could do it that way, or we could deny this motion, and have them come up with another one. But either way,
Okay.
I don't care, no
I
actions.
see Mr. Kavanaugh has a question. Mr. Kavanaugh?
I'm not sure how you're going about this. To me, for, oh, I can't think of it right
Open
now.
Meetings Act.
Robert's Rules.
Not an open meeting, you can
Robert's
table or withdraw the motions.
Yeah,
That's-
and we either need to vote it down or withdraw the motion in support to follow Robert's Rules.
I do not agree with that analysis, Mr. Kavanaugh. I believe that we can have a motion and not take action on it, but if it's a member, if it's, board members that we take a vote on it, they can always come back with something later.
That was my,
That would be my,
Okay,
yep.
okay,
I think properly, if there's a motion and a support,
that
we
needs to be.
either need to rescind it or vote on it.
Withdraw it or,
Yeah.
yeah, vote.
Just a point of order. I agree with the direction. I just think we need to handle it.
well,
We need to take proper steps.
are there any other, comments, Mr. Morris?
I said mine already really about it.
Well, then I will call for the vote.
Mr. Erickson,
No.
Mr. Hardy,
No,
Mr. Beggs,
No.
Mr. Morse,
No.
Mr. Walker.
No. Thank you, board members. Again, I ask the administrator to reach out with, thoughts of the board to the Health and Human Services Board, if you would, please. Thank you. Mr. Hardy, payment of claims.
motion for board approval of accounts payable and release of funds for 11/9/2023. Total ambulance fund, $252,745.82. FOC fund, $2,194.06. Shelby Township Community Park fund total, $338,241.65. Brownfield Redevelopment Authority total, $1,631.92. Automated ROD fund total, $1,926.60. Indigent Defense Fund total, $14,495.98. LOCT Fund total, $97.18. Canine Unit Fund, $124.78. ARPA Fund total, $13,790. Department of Veterans Affairs, $1,919.50. Technology and Innovation, $7,992.36. Building Department Fund total, $22,990.43. For a general fund total of $290,875.30, and a grand total of $950,025.58.
Do we have a support?
Support.
Moved by Mr. Hardy, support by Mr. Erickson. Any discussion? You were pushing that big number, weren't you, on this?
Yeah,
That's a big number.
I just stuttered for a second.
You were close.
Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Hardy,
Yes.
Mr. Erickson,
Yes.
Mr. Morse,
Yes.
Mr. Beggs,
Yes.
Mr. Walker.
Yes. Reports from the commissioners. Mr. Beggs?
I don't think I have anything to report this time.
Mr. Hardy?
Nothing to report this time.
Mr. Morris?
Yeah, Ms. Greiner, on the planning commission, he's the chair, is, not going to renew his term, his decision. So we're gonna be looking for somebody to replace him. But first, most importantly, we wanna acknowledge him and his service for many, many years on the planning commission, and just serving our community. I really appreciate what he's been doing over the years, and, he will be missed on the board. So now we're in the process of seeking a new chair and also a new member, to replace his. We need somebody to represent the road commission, so we'll have to, that entity or that area. Had a good time last Thursday at the Oceana County Road Commission reception. Had the pleasure of sitting across from Mr. Walker and his wife, and Mr. Heislip and his wife. Nice presentation by Mark Timmer. Looking forward to, I'm sure Mr. Erickson will speak on this about tonight, but I'm looking forward to the Historical Society gathering tonight at the research station. Yeah, that's good. I think that'll be a good time. And then my last thing is, today at 3 o'clock, Curtis Burdett, myself, and Tammy Carey are gonna meet virtually with Jeff Donahoe from the consulting company that is writing the workforce diversification study. We were just not satisfied with it at all. So we're gonna meet with him and tell him what we expect, and we'll go from there.
What report was that?
The workforce diversification study, that's the one, and it also talks about skilled trades, you know, what sort of, yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Morris. Mr. Erickson?
Yeah, there's been a lot going on. I'll be leaving here today to go out and meet with Mr. Tiffany at the Crystal Valley Dam. He's out there today doing some engineering work for us to put together that plan that we spoke of. Met with Colfax Township this week at their monthly board meeting. Very active township. Dave Leonard's doing a really good job out in that far corner of our county, and they're really coming together. I really appreciate it. And like I had said, the new town hall out there has 2 fire barn doors that there's no fire trucks in it. But this past week, they knocked down the 100-plus-year-old Colfax Town Hall. Kind of a sad day, but that building is no longer on the property. Trash days are going on all over. Newfield Township has a very nice trash area now built north of the town hall, all fully fenced in. It really looks good. Newfield's done a great job over there. Very, very impressed with them. And on a larger note, I spent some time with the Department of Natural Resources last Friday and then again this past Monday. And if you've noticed, there's a lot of horses in town. The fairgrounds has opened the doors to the dune ride, the shoreline dune ride at Silver Lake, and we look to see over 2,300 horses enjoy the Silver Lake sand dunes this November. This is really catching on like wildfire. And Friday, what we did, 2 Department of Natural Resources officers and 2 of the Michigan Equine Trail Committee, we rode the trail from Montague to Hart, and we identified the very distinct possibility to open up the rail trail to equines from Rothbury, of which they're going to Rothbury right now, all the way to Hart, have a trailhead in Hart for the equine community. Public access is their right, as well as if you're riding a bicycle. So the department on Monday at the Hart Community Center had their quarterly meeting. The Equine Trail Division was directed to write up the plan to open up the William D. Field Memorial Rail Trail to horses all the way from Montague to Hart. So in the future, I do believe we will see the trail opened up to horses both sides of the trail, and it's a big shot in the arm. If you've looked at any of the traffic we've had in Hart up there this past week, we've had a lot of people come and stay at the fairgrounds. Jack and Jill, they're staying there. They're driving for hours to come to ride our Silver Lake sand dunes. This pilot program's 3 years old, but we're extremely proud of what this committee and the Department of Natural Resources is looking forward to now.
Thank you, Mr. Erickson.
Mr. Walker.
Yes.
I missed one point, if I could go back real quick. I was speaking with City Hart's mayor the other day, and this was just a casual conversation, but Phil, I might be interested in that. I know that they're working right now, they've applied for a grant to convert the formerly Village Market, which was Gail's facility. They're working with West Shore Community College and Muskegon Community College both together on the project to make this a local educational center. I don't know what the sponsorship is between the two schools, because I know West Shore actually is tied with Ferris, and I think Muskegon is tied with Grand Valley. So there's an educational opportunity that they're working on. I forget what grant they were looking for, but it was upwards of $3 million or something. So hopefully,
Good.
that would be really, really a good ad. So, thank you.
Amy, do you have anything for us?
No.
Tracy?
Just a reminder that our, we do not have another board meeting this month. Next meeting is December 7th, and would like to wish you all a happy Thanksgiving.
So, I had a luncheon meeting with James Kelly, and it was a very worthwhile meeting. The bottom line on the outcome of that whole meeting is I expressed my concern, my personal concern, and I was not speaking on behalf of the board, of the friction or the difficult working condition that there may be between staff people from Michigan State University and volunteers for the Oceanaconie Fair Board and 4-H. And I told him that it's my wish that those things be resolved, and they can't be resolved by me getting my nose stuck into the middle of it, but I hope that they get taken care of and we can all move forward with it. And that's why we talked about, Mr. Kelly, I just was expressing about the meeting we had together, and I said that I hope any issues can be resolved between the parties that there were, and that was why that we self-funded things for this year, but we can't let it go on indefinitely without people working together and working respectfully back and across the table, back and forth. And that's all I had to bring to the board. With that, I'll open it to public comments.
I'll jump in. I wasn't planning on it. Seems like an appropriate moment. I just do want to recognize James Kelly and Shelley Extension, that we are very eager to sit down. I believe there was a meeting last night, which I wasn't allowed to attend, or wasn't encouraged to attend. But one thing I would ask, just as a courtesy, I know that I think Commissioner Erickson was referenced a memorandum of understanding of communication last night that would be part of the board memorandum, and I've not heard of that yet. So I just hope if there's some desire to change any of the documents that we've submitted annually for many, many years, that there'll be an appropriate chance to have some discussion about that with the right people at the table. So again, we need to talk more openly with the right people in the room, and pretty confident we can figure things out if we can get to that point. So appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly. Are there any other public comments at this time? Mr. Daines, congratulations and welcome to the board. Just because it is not a unanimous vote, anything that comes off this table, as with any other board, doesn't mean that the person isn't welcome to be on that board. And I wish you all my best. So,
I won't let you down.
with that, we will stand adjourned.